Welcome to Exploring Eats. A true foodie is never afraid to fully immerse themselves in local cuisine experiences when traveling abroad. But there comes the point where we go from weird and wonderful culinary experiences to just plain weird. Have you ever wondered what the weirdest foods are? Take a look at these weirdest foods from around the world. Bird's nest soup, China. You wouldn't necessarily think a bird's nest would be edible, but the Chinese use swift's nest to make this soup, known as the caviar of the East. Right now, you're probably imagining a nest made out of twigs and leaves, but swiftlets make their nest predominantly out of saliva. It's something in the saliva of the bird that makes it have this unique gelatinous rubbery texture. It's one of the most expensive animal products consumed by humans. It's expensive because the swiftlets build their nests during breeding season over a period of 35 days, and nests can only be harvested around 3 times a year. The nests are typically built in coastal caves, and collecting them is a treacherous process involving nimble climbing skills, which adds to the hefty price tag. With an increase in demand for bird's nest soup, man-made nesting sites have become common. Hong Kong and the US are the largest importers of bird's nests, and a bowl of the soup can cost between $30 to $100 a bowl, whereas a kilo of nests can cost between $2,000 and $10,000. A tradition for centuries, the soup's believed to have aphrodisiac qualities in addition to its numerous protein content. 9. Fried tarantulas, Cambodia. The eensy-weensy spider climbed up the waterspout. If you suffer from arachnophobia, you probably don't want to try to eat these 8-legged monsters. They're not tiny little house spiders. They're great big tarantulas, and you can buy them from street vendors in Skuon, Cambodia. They're fried whole, legs, fangs, and all. They were first discovered to be edible by starving Cambodians in the bloody brutal days of the Khmer Rouge rule, and have gone from being the vital sustenance of these people to a delicacy tourists come from far and wide to try. They're crispy on the outside with a gooey body on the inside, with a flavor resembling cricket or chicken. The black hairy arachnids found in the jungle around the market town of Skuon have become a source of fame and fortune for the region as busloads of people stop to try them on their way to other places. For only a few cents, they taste delicious plucked straight from the burrow and pan-fried with a bit of garlic and salt. 8. Pufferfish, Japan. You've got to be careful with this delicacy or you might end up in the morgue. The deadly pufferfish, or fogu, is the ultimate delicacy in Japan, even though its skin and insides contain the poisonous toxin, which is 1,250 times stronger than cyanide. That's why in Japan, only expert chefs and licensed restaurants are allowed to prepare it. Only try this at licensed restaurants, otherwise you could end up paralyzed and eventually die from asphyxiation because there is no known antidote. 7. Fertilized eggs, the Philippines. This Filipino dish called balut isn't like a chocolate Kinder Surprise. These eggs harbor a surprise, although it's not a plastic toy, but rather a chance to eat your chicken and your egg at the same time. Fertilized eggs are boiled just before they're due to hatch, so their yolk oozes out followed by a chicken or duck fetus. They're cooked when the fetus is anywhere from 17 days to 21 days depending on your preference, although when the egg is older, the fetus begins to have beaks, claws, bones, and feathers. In Filipino culture, balut is almost as popular as a hot dog in America, and street vendors yell out balut as they push their carts down the streets. They're popularly believed to boost the libido, and are also a hearty snack full of protein. Balut are usually guzzled down with beer and are prepared with a pinch of salt, lemon juice, black pepper, and coriander, although some balut eaters prefer it with chili and vinegar. The way to eat balut is to crack open the egg, sip the broth, and then eat the yolk and fetus. 6. Maggot cheese, Sardinia. This Sardinia cheese is riddled with insect larvae. Casu marzua means rotten cheese and is most commonly referred to as maggot cheese. It's now been banned for health reasons, but can still be found on sale on the black market in Sardinia and other parts of Italy. The sheep's milk cheese is basically pecorino, which has had the larva of the cheese fly introduced into it. Fermentation occurs as the larva digests the cheese fats, and the texture becomes very soft with some liquid seeping out. The cheese has to be eaten when the maggots are still alive, because when they are dead, it is considered to be toxic. Since the larvae can jump if they are disturbed, diners have to shield their eyes. Health issues have arisen in relation to casu marzu, including reports of allergic reactions and the danger of consuming cheese that has advanced to a toxic state. There's also the risk of internal larva infection to consider. 5. SURSTROMMING, Sweden. SURSTROMMING is fermented Baltic herring and can be found on supermarket shelves all over Sweden, although you probably won't see it next to the IKEA meatballs. Certain airlines consider the pressurized cans to be potentially dangerous, like fireworks and explosives. The herring is caught in spring, when it is just about to spawn, and is fermented in barrels for 1 to 2 months, before it is tinned where the fermentation continues for several months. The cans often bulge during shipping and storage because of the continued fermentation process. It's usually eaten with a type of flat crispy bread and boiled potatoes. Sometimes people drink milk or water with it, but beer's the best way to wash it down. 4. Live octopus Korea. Sangshi is a rare dish consisting of live octopus typically in Korea. Live octopus is cut into pieces, lightly seasoned with sesame oil and served immediately, the tentacles still squirming on the plate. Eating live octopus is a serious challenge, beyond the mental challenge of trying to get your head around eating something that's still alive, but there's the physical difficulty of fighting with your food, as the tentacles stick to any surface they touch. The first hurdle is to get your tentacles off your chopsticks, and once the octopus is in your mouth, it will suction to your teeth, the roof of your mouth, and your tongue, essentially trying to preserve its own life. Some locals consider it a party in your mouth, as the tentacles wiggle while you chew. Special care should be brought to chewing thoroughly, however, because if the suction cup sticks to their throat, you might choke. 3. Excrement coffee, Indonesia. You might want to think twice if someone offers you a cup of this coffee when you pop round their house in Indonesia, or maybe not. Kopi Luwak is the rarest, most expensive gourmet coffee in the world. Sounds divine, right? It's actually made from the excrements of an Indonesian cat-like creature called the luwak. The luwak eats only the ripest coffee cherries, but its stomach can digest beans inside them, so they come out whole. The coffee that results from this process is said to be like no other, and the stomach acids and enzymes that perform the fermentation of the beans give the coffee a special aroma. 2. Puffin heart, Iceland. Sometimes referred to as the clown of the ocean or sea parrot, the puffin, with its colorful beak and clumsy behavior, is considered an adorable bird. The sight of a puffin flapping its wings and jumping from a cliff to generate enough lift to become airborne is enough to make anyone go, ah. In Iceland, however, these seabirds have become a source of sustenance for Icelanders on the islands for centuries. Iceland is home to one of the world's largest colonies of puffins, and sky fishing is a sport which involves catching the low-flying birds in a big net. Hunters break their necks, skin them, and then eat the fresh hearts raw while it's still warm as a traditional Icelandic delicacy. The best place to catch a puffin or two is in the Westman Islands, where they are sustainably harvested to prevent them from going extinct. 1. Snake wine, Vietnam. Fancy a different sort of wine? A bouquet of reptile with some note of venom, perhaps. Snake wine is rice wine bottled with a venomous snake. It has a slightly pink color with a nice rose because of the snake blood in there. This wine originated in Vietnam, where snakes are thought to possess medicinal qualities, but is spread to other parts of Southeast Asia and South China. Snake wine shouldn't be confused with the potentially more dangerous snake blood wine, made by slicing the belly of the snake to let the blood drain into the wine and served immediately. What's the weirdest food you've ever eaten? Thanks for watching.